to the Married and Connected podcast. This is the podcast to hear authentic stories of marriages that have gone from ashes to excellence, a mixture of science and biblically based tips to improve your own marriage, and experts in fields that will help you navigate the good, the bad, and the in-between of marriage. I am your host for the show, Cameron Alaricki. I'm an Enneagram 2 with a 1 wing, a former public school teacher turned Gottman certified marriage coach, intentional about practicing in my own relationship what I'm preaching to you. I'm an avid self-improvement reader, passionate about homeschooling our 2 boys, a firm believer in Jesus, and that nothing will change you for the better more than traveling. That being said, this podcast is set up as if you and I were old friends, sitting together, drinking coffee, sharing all of our deepest secrets of marriage, life, kids, and the things that set our souls on fire. If improving your marriage, authenticity, and growth are your jam as much as they are mine, you're in the right place, and I couldn't be more excited to have you here. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. Leave a review, and don't forget to share to your socials so that more people can better their marriage along with you. Thanks for listening, and let's jump into this week's episode. Do you want a stronger, more connected marriage without having to schedule appointments, pay a hefty fee, or find a babysitter? Connected and Committed is a 6-week self-study course designed to help you break unhealthy cycles, communicate with clarity, rebuild trust, and reignite intimacy on your own. Each week, you will dive into 3 powerful recorded coaching sessions, practical exercises, and expert-backed strategies that create lasting change. Whether you're feeling disconnected or just want to deepen your bond, this course is going to guide you every single step of the way. Purchase grants you lifetime access and can be done with your spouse or on your own. Invest in your marriage today. Visit the link in the show notes to learn more. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Married and Connected podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Alaricki, and today I am so excited to bring to you this topic. Today we're going to be going through the top 20 completely unhinged, absolutely rogue ideas to better your marriage no matter what state it's in, even if it's just a little bit stale, if you are on the verge of divorce, if you feel like you're great with your partner but just needing a few things to spice things up, I have got something for every single one of you. So stay tuned all the way to the end because you are going to absolutely love some of these ideas that I have intertwined. Quick disclaimer. This episode is absolutely not for children, and you're also going to want something to jot notes with. So if you're listening in your car while you're driving, make sure that you are not taking notes while you're driving, but make sure that you come back and listen to this again a little bit later when you have the ability to take notes. Number 1, having sex before your date, not after. Now, mind-blowing concept here, but as we're going through, a lot of times we have been conditioned to believe that we should be having sex after the date. But you're full of food, you feel heavy, you feel bloated, you're tired, like it might be really late. Now you've got the kids, like what? This makes absolutely no sense. So we're going to flip it. Flipping this releases that pressure dynamic. So instead of the night hinging on whether it ends with intimacy, it starts with connection, and then the rest is pure enjoyment. Now, here's the caveat to this. In order for the woman, because remember that women are like ovens and men are like microwaves, the woman is going to take a little bit of time to get revved up. So you're going to need to start in the morning with that, hey, how can I help you? Hey, you're looking really good today. Oh my gosh, I love those gray sweatpants. Grabbing her butt, cuddling, kissing, doing the things that turn her on so that you are warming her up as the day goes on, sending cute texts throughout the day, things like that, so that you are warming that oven up instead of just being like, all right, well, we're 5 minutes from walking out the door. Let's do this. No, we're going to actually spend some quality time here, people. Connection before the date makes everything much more enjoyable. And then you're not bloated. You're not feeling like crap. You're not as tired. All right. Number 2, you are going to record your arguments. Record your arguments and make sure that you're setting the phone where you can actually see both people. This is going to be an absolute game changer for you. It was for me and Mo. And honestly, this was one of the turning points that allowed me to have better conflict management. It also allowed Mo to do that, but I can't speak for his experience. The way that this changes you. So I didn't realize how aggressive I got in my facial expressions and in my tone of voice and in like the condescension that was coming out. I've talked about this a couple of times on the episode, on podcast episodes before, but I didn't realize how condescending I was to my husband. I could always tell when someone was condescending to me, but I couldn't tell when somebody else, when I was being condescending to them. And so my coach really had to help me through that and really had to work with me on that one. So this was an absolute game changer for us, because then we were also able to go back and look at what we had done and what, like, how we fought and what we said and things like that. And we were able to be like, number one, we were able to laugh at ourselves and be like, wow, we are stupid. We are absolute idiots. Like, why would we do this? Why would we say this? Are we treating each other like friends in this? It also, when you're recording, you're recording and you know that you're going to go back and look at it. And so it almost makes you be on your best behavior. It forces you to be in a more present, more mindful state than what you would be if you're just letting words fly. So here's some science behind recording yourself, because I love my science. Reduces escalation. So studies show that when couples know they're being recorded, they naturally slow down, they choose words more carefully, and they argue less aggressively, which I just said, that's exactly what happened to us. And this is called the observer effect. People actually change behavior when they know they're being watched. It increases your emotional regulation. So in couples who reviewed recordings of their fights later, researchers saw a 30 to 40% improvement in emotional self-control over time. So basically, hearing yourself losing it is extremely humbling and sobering. And that's exactly what happened with us as well. It also improves your problem-solving skills. So couples who recorded and reviewed arguments had a 25 to 35% better resolution rate in follow-up studies, and they could identify patterns like interrupting, defensiveness, or even blame shifting more easily. It also builds your empathy. So when listening back, partners reported up to 50% more empathy because they could hear the hurt or the fear in the tone that they missed during the fight itself. When you are arguing, that outer layer of your brain that's logical, that makes those decisions, actually shuts down. You're in fight or flight mode. So you miss a lot of those details that are so incredibly important, like that hurt or that fear in your partner's tone. You're only thinking of yourself. You're being very self-centered in an argument when your partner really is needing you to hear that hurt or that fear in order to come to a solution a little bit better. You're also creating a faster repair. When couples listen to just 5 or 10 minutes of an argument recording, they don't even have to listen to the whole thing. They're twice as likely to initiate repair attempts. That means that you're apologizing, you're clarifying, you have soft starts within 24 hours compared to those who didn't. Now, again, if you have listened to past episodes, you know that repair is the absolute most important part of the argument. Dr. John Gottman says that it really doesn't even matter how often, it could be every single day that a couple argues. If they are repairing every single time, they're going to report having a very satisfactory marriage. All right, number 3, this is one of my favorites, and I give this to every single one of my couples. Communication is 58% body language, 35% tone, 7% words. So it's really easy to understand how these keyboard warriors get on there and they throw comments and all this shade on Facebook or what have you, because you're not actually getting the tone of their message. You're assuming it. So with your partner, it's not really any different. When you're sending a text, they're reading it one way and assuming that you meant one thing when you actually meant something else. So hearing the tone of your voice carries more intimacy than emojis. So you're going to create a rule, one voice memo a day, even if it's just thinking about you in the cereal aisle. Or my personal favorite, and this is the tip that I give to all my clients, you're going to do it with a connection question. Because again, men get connection through shared activities, women get connection through open-ended conversation. So if you have a connection question in the morning, text the question so that it's easily referred back to, and then voice text your answer. That is going to give you 42% of the message versus just that 7% if the words are written. So you're getting more of the message, and you're also able to better connect because you're able to hear your partner's voice. And that creates a lot more of that intimacy. Number 4, develop gratitude for your partner and show it. I am so big on gratitude. So big on gratitude. Number 1, just because it truly does brighten your entire life. It makes your entire life better. Developing gratitude and showing it also helps your sex life. In her recent appearance on the Mel Robbins podcast, I love Vanessa Marin. She is a renowned sex therapist, and her Instagram is of her and her husband. It's Vanessa and Xander. And Vanessa was talking about the profound impact of daily gratitude on enhancing intimacy and sexual connection within relationships. And she emphasizes that expressing daily appreciation can significantly strengthen emotional bonds between partners. Simple acts like acknowledging your partner's efforts or expressing thanks for even small gestures, things that normally you would just expect needing to be done. But even when you're acknowledging your partner's efforts and expressing those things, it fosters a sense of being valued and seen. It's not just like, oh, hey, you were expected to take out the trash, so why do you need a thanks for it? Why not? This emotional closeness lays the foundation for a more connected and satisfying sex life. Such a good episode if you have not heard that. It's on the Mel Robbins podcast, and her name is Vanessa Marin. Number 5, give each other secret signals in public. This is fun. So you're going to create fun code signals like a finger tap or squeeze or a certain look, something like that, that means like, you're so hot, or I want you right now, or I'm really proud of you, or let's get out of here. And it can be, let's get out of here and go do more fun things, or let's get out of here because I'm tired of these people. Either way, it adds a private world to your very public life. So, secret fun signals. Number 6, if you have attended any of my monthly workshops, and if you have not, there's a link in the show notes to actually sign up for those. They are absolutely free. Every single month is a different topic. Anyways, the way that I start each one of these workshops is that I do it with a 1-minute hug. Now, you can also do this with a 6-second kiss every day because Dr. Gottman has research on that as well, which we'll get into here in a minute. But I love this because research on these 2 things is crazy powerful for something so simple that you can incorporate into your day. So here's what a 1-minute hug or a 6-second kiss actually does for you. So let's talk about mentally. We're talking that it reduces stress instantly by lowering cortisol levels, because your brain actually calms down. It increases your mental clarity because stress hormones drop and your body shifts into a safer and more focused state. It boosts resilience to emotional ups and downs because small physical connections make your brain more resistant to feeling overwhelmed later. Now, physically, it triggers an oxytocin release. That's the love hormone, and that promotes bonding, reduces pain, lowers your blood pressure, and improves your heart health. It boosts dopamine and serotonin, which is the natural happy chemicals that help fight depression and anxiety. It strengthens your immune system. So a regular affection is linked to fewer illnesses. Hugging is quite literally medicine. Lowers heart rate and relaxes muscles. This puts your body into a parasympathetic, it's the rest and restore state, which we're typically in the fight or flight mode because we're busy and hustling and grinding and all the things. We live in that sympathetic state. We need more parasympathetic state so that our body is healthier. Emotionally, it creates a deep sense of safety and trust because your nervous system associates touch with security. It builds emotional intimacy, especially when done without distractions, not rushing, no phones, no children around, that sort of thing. It helps couples feel more seen and prioritized, reminding them that they are cherished beyond their words or their chores or the things that they do. And it reinforces commitment subtly, which lowers insecurity and emotional distance over time. Now, let's talk about what it does for your sex life. This primes arousal pathways without pressure. It builds slow and safe and warm connection that can lead to a natural desire instead of forced performance. So remember earlier when I was talking about having sex before your date and how you need to prime the engine a little bit in order to get it going? This is a very, very good way to do that. So a 1-minute hug or a 6-second kiss. You guys, this is so quick to add into your life, and it has so many benefits. It also creates anticipation and teasing. A 6-second kiss isn't just a peck. It's intentional, it's lingering, and it stirs attraction without obligation. It strengthens your sexual chemistry over time because consistent positive touch keeps attraction alive. This is scientifically proven through increased vasopressin levels. And that's what men especially need in order to keep that consistent attraction for their woman. It makes your body associate your partner with pleasure and safety, which increases both emotional and sexual intimacy. So, in short, a simple daily hug or kiss acts like a total mind, body, heart reset that strengthens your marriage at every level, physically, mentally, emotionally, and sexually. Number 7, do a marital audit in a hotel once a year. I swear, if I could prescribe this to every single couple who comes to me, I would basically be out of a job because couples would just kind of figure it out on their own. What you're going to do is you're going to rent a room. You're going to bring food. You're going to bring drinks. I would not suggest alcohol, and here's the reason why. Alcohol is a biochemistry disruptor. So alcohol and sugar both. When you drink alcohol, you are 10 foot tall and bulletproof. It automatically makes you want to argue more. It automatically changes your biochemistry the same way that eating sugar, having your period, like there's having caffeine, any of those are biochemistry disruptors. So I would suggest water, juice, something like that, food, and your most honest selves. You're going to reflect on the past year, your wins, your wounds, what you want more of, and you're going to be brutally kind, not brutally honest. All right. Brutally kind. Even when you are explaining all of the wounds that happened. Hey, when this happened, this is how I felt. You're not blaming each other. You're simply stating how you felt about it, what you want more of, what was really hard for you. And you're going to communicate this in ways that are like, I felt this. For me, it was like this. What I was feeling or thinking or seeing or understanding was this. Notice that you're not saying, well, you did this and you did that. Because when you do that, you're closing the gate of communication. And so it's a lot easier for your partner to hear you and to have empathy and to understand you when you're using those I statements. Number 8, you are going to give each other permission slips. Now, before you write this off and close the podcast, okay, just hear me out, because when I was doing some research and came across this idea, I thought, God, that's so dumb and childish. But here is why I kept it in here. First off, you're going to physically write and hand over permission slips like, I give you permission to rest this weekend and not feel guilty, or I give you permission to say no to my family. This is going to rewire expectations. Here is why I kept this in here as an option, as one of these rogue ideas. When we talk about giving each other permission slips, like permission to relax and be fully seen and receive affection, be imperfect, etc., There's real science backing why this works so powerfully in relationships. And you're not giving your partner permission as if you are their parent. You are actually doing it because one of these reasons is attachment theory. Humans are wired for connection and reassurance. You've heard me talk about attachment theory over and over and over again. I've had a couple of experts on the podcast because of it. If you want to hear more about attachment theory from the beginning, go back to episode 44. It's one of my most popular episodes with Julie Manano. She's a licensed marriage and family therapist. She also has an incredible book that I would recommend to every single couple on this planet called Secure Love. Phenomenal book, very easy to read, and it's on Audible. Okay, we are wired for connection and reassurance, and our attachment theory affects quite literally every single thing in our relationships. And according to attachment science, when one partner gives permission, like it's safe to need me, it's okay to be you with me, it calms the attachment system. And when your brain feels safe, it stops scanning for threats, which makes you more open to affection, intimacy, play, and vulnerability. So what this translates into is that a permission slip tells your brain, hey, you're safe, you belong, you can actually breathe out, exhale here, which opens the door for closeness, laughter, better sex, more collaboration, everything. Number 2 of this option is that it's self-compassion. So Dr. Kristen Neff's research shows that when people receive external compassion from a partner, for example, it teaches their own brain to soften their self-criticism. How many of us tie our self-worth to what we do? I'm not worthy because I'm not a good mom. I'm not worthy because I'm not making enough money and providing and protecting my family as a man that I need to. I'm not worthy because I lost my job. I'm not good enough because I didn't do X, Y, and Z. I'm not pretty enough because I don't look like X, Y, and Z. Permission slips are like borrowed self-compassion. You may not feel you can earn peace or play or rest until someone says, hey, you don't have to earn it. You're already enough. You deserve a break just because you're you. Just because you're struggling mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, etc. You need to take a rest day. Looking at biblical times, they took Shabbat for a reason. Saturday, from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, no one could work. You could not work. It was illegal to work because everybody needed rest. And we need to kind of start getting back to that because now we're starting to, like if you look around at your daily life, look at your calendar. Do you have a day of rest? And then you wonder why every Monday morning you wake up thinking, God, I'm so tired. I didn't get any rest over the weekend because I had 14 soccer games and baseball games. We had to run there. And then we did this extracurricular activity. And then we went out to eat. And then we, it's so much. So taking that permission just to rest. And when a partner gives you a permission slip, it actually helps you rewire your internal voice to be kinder. The way we speak to ourselves, is also the way that we speak to our partners and our children. If we are criticizing ourselves all day long, guess what? There is a very, very large chance that you are also very critical to your partner and to your kids. Now, number 3 in this is neuroplasticity and emotional learning. Every time you receive a new emotional experience that's positive and different from what you're used to, so for example, being told you don't have to be perfect to be loved, your brain physically rewires and builds neurosynapses there. It is a new neural pathway that forms. And over time, that new permission becomes the new normal. This is how we change our life, people. This is how we change our marriages and our homes and the energy within our homes. This is how we change our parenting and our children and the trajectory for our family tree. Small, repeated permission slips literally reshape how you experience love, security, and self-worth. Now, from a polyvagal theory, which is your nervous system science, Dr. Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory says that your nervous system is constantly asking, am I safe? Getting a loving permission slip, like it's okay to rest or it's okay to not be okay, it activates your ventral vagal system. And that is the part that controls your connection, your openness, and your trust. This shift makes affection, intimacy, and teamwork much more natural instead of forced. Now, permission calms your nervous system and makes deeper connection physically possible. So, bottom line here, the whole reason that I kept this permission slip as a rogue idea to better your marriage is because of the science-backed research behind it. It's not just a cute gesture. It's a biological doorway into deeper trust, healing, affection, and better intimacy. You are giving your partner's brain and heart what it has secretly craved since childhood: safety, acceptance, the freedom to be real, and the reinforcement that love isn't conditional on their performance. It's huge. Number 9, you are going to use a safe word for arguments. This one is really, really helpful. Ours is umbrella. You're going to choose a word that means, hey, we're spiraling and we need to pause before we ruin this. Something lighthearted like avocado or Mozart works wonders. It's a word that you don't normally use, okay? So you're pushing yourself and your partner off the mental track that's familiar and forcing yourself to do something healthier. With one word, and this can even be added in, you're saying, hey, I love you more than I love this argument, more than I love being childish, because honestly, that's all that squabbling is, and more than I love my pride and the need to be right, all with one word. This also means, hey, let's take a break. A lot of times when you use the words or the phrase, let's take a break here, someone with an anxious attachment is going to automatically feel abandonment. They're also going to feel like they aren't seen or heard or what have you. They're going to want to keep going, okay? Avocado, or for us, umbrella, when we say that word, it's like, hey, I'm too flooded. I am too flooded. I am too flooded emotionally and mentally to continue this conversation. I love you. I'm coming back, but I need to regulate myself. I need a moment to process. I need a moment to breathe and get out of this state so that my logical brain can go ahead and come back online so that I can engage in a conversation that's actually helpful, that's logical, that's not completely flooded with emotion. And like, I'm not in the ocean drowning in a flood of emotion and I'm going to need you to rescue me later, or I'm going to say something that completely wrecks this marriage. So one small word does all of that for you. Number 10, you are going to trade 5-minute fantasies weekly. Now, again, this was kind of one of those that I was like, what the heck? But each person gets 5 minutes to share a dream or fantasy for the relationship. This is not always sexual, okay? This is not always sexual. And the other person, so partner A is going to share the fantasy. Partner B, you are not going to fix, you are not going to judge, and you are not going to comment. You are just going to listen. This is also sometimes called micro fantasies or mental foreplay. Then you're going to switch. Partner B, you're going to share yours. Partner A, you are not going to fix, judge, or comment. You are just going to listen. Okay? So here's the science behind this theory. All right. Number 1 is neuroplasticity and sexual desire. Your brain builds and strengthens whatever pathways you use most. What you focus on grows. All right. We've heard that 1,000 times. If you spend 5 minutes fantasizing about connection, desire, and adventure with your partner, having more help, the ability to go to bed by 9 o'clock, whatever the case may be, you are literally training your brain to associate your partner with excitement, anticipation, and arousal. This strengthens the sexual anticipation pathways that get dulled over time by all of the stress in our life, the routine, the kids, life in general, aging parents, family, etc. 5 minutes a day rewires your brain to crave your partner more. Number 2 is dopamine and anticipation. Fantasizing triggers a dopamine release. That's the wanting neurochemical before anything physical even happens. And dopamine isn't about satisfaction. It's about longing and excitement. So little mental fantasies boost desire even if you don't act on them right away. And this is absolutely huge for marriages where one or both partners feel meh about sex but want to reignite it. Now, your micro fantasies make your body and your mind hungry for intimacy without pressure. And here is why. Studies show that sexual novelty, even mentally imagined, triggers the exact same brain centers as actual new experiences. Quite frankly, our like this is the science says that our brain can't tell the difference between experiences that we have imagined and experiences that we have actually done. So thinking up different scenes, adventures, or scenarios with your partner keeps the relationship feeling fresh without needing external people or complicated stuff that to be in the mix of that. Emotional novelty increases oxytocin too, and that strengthens emotional trust and safety. So a 5-minute fantasy makes your relationship feel new again without anyone cheating or buying a yacht. This also reduces performance pressure. Fantasizing mentally separates desire from performance. You can build fun, creative, silly, sexy thoughts without needing your body or your partner's body to perform in a certain way right then. And this is absolutely massive for people who deal with a lot of stress, low libido, body image issues, or checklist sex. Fantasies are basically pressure-free intimacy gyms for your mind. A 5-minute fantasy is like mental foreplay that retrains your brain to be excited about, connected to, and physically drawn toward your partner, building emotional, mental, and sexual intimacy all at once. And because it's private, creative, and low pressure, it's sustainable for real marriage and not just romance novels. Number 11. This is one of my favorite exercises, and it's so awkward at the beginning, but oh my gosh, it's so incredibly powerful. You're going to sit on your bed or somewhere comfortable on the floor, what have you. You're going to sit kneecap to kneecap, and you're going to hold hands, and you're going to set a timer for 5 minutes, and you're just going to look into each other's eyes. You're not going to talk. You're not going to laugh. You're just going to focus on each other's body language. This forces you to tune into your partner's energy, their gestures, their eye contact, and your connection is going to deepen so fast. So fast. Within 5 minutes, you are going to feel so incredibly connected to your partner. I'm not going to lie, in the beginning, it's going to be awkward. You're going to have moments where it's like, whoa, there might be some crying that happens. There might be just feel whatever comes up. Whatever comes up for you, just sit in it. Don't try to shove it down. Don't try to shove it away. Don't try to suppress it, or don't judge your partner for whatever they've got coming up. It's an exercise that is going to not only build trust, it's going to build intimacy. It's emotionally and physically. It's going to help you be more attracted to your partner. It's going to help you read them better. I had one couple that, for him, he is not the type that he really is able to vocalize a lot of emotions. He's not really able, he just doesn't really have the vocabulary, honestly. And that's not in a bad way. He'll tell you that. He's like, I don't really know how to express myself very well. But when he was watching his wife and they did this activity, it was like a burst of vocabulary came out of him, and he was like, I feel like you're telling me all of these things. And she was like, oh my God, yes, this is dead on all of it. And so he was quite surprisingly able to verbalize her emotions better than he was his own. So if that happens for you, bravo. Any of those, it's just going to be an incredibly different experience than what you've ever had before. So absolutely incredible for your relationship as well, but it is a huge connector. Number 12, this one's really fun. You're going to name your relationship like a brand. Give your marriage a name. Now, you've probably seen this done with couples who are no longer together, and it's very tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. Things like, yeah, my ex was like Ross. You might find something good, but you got to dig through a lot of mess to get there. Or, yeah, my ex was like Walmart, always open, but the quality is questionable. Or low prices, lower standards. My ex was like Radio Shack. Used to be something back in the day, and now it's just sad and forgotten. Or my ex was like MySpace. Once was hot and then got abandoned for something better. My ex was like Toys R Us, full of dreams and potential, and now just nostalgia and broken promises. Things like that. So you're actually going to do this differently and talk about what your brand for your relationship stands for. And you're going to make decisions based on protecting the brand, not bashing the brand and throwing it under the bus. So for me and Mo, I did a few. Ours would be like Patagonia. It's all about adventure, loyalty, and integrity. It's rugged, real, and built to last, just like a solid marriage. It's not flashy, but it's deeply respected. It shows up with quality, consistency, and heart. And then a couple of others that might be is like, we're like Jeep, loyal, adventurous, and dependable in rough terrain. We're like Yeti, strong, built to keep things safe and preserved no matter what the conditions. We're like Lego, creative, colorful, strong connections that build something incredible over time. Something like that. Create fun brand names for your relationship. It's just a really cute and fun way to spice up your relationship. Number 13, you are going to turn mundane moments into micro dates. Okay, so folding laundry, lighting candles, sitting in traffic, make it sexy. Add a playlist, share a kiss, sit closer. Intimacy doesn't have to be fancy, you guys. It doesn't have to be fancy. Number 14, I absolutely love this. If you have been following my story since the beginning, my God, Mo and I have been through some shit. And so if you keep a holy shit, look what we did jar, you're going to write down every win, big or small. And I love doing this. And you start it on a birthday or an anniversary or the, New Year's, something like that. You can even start now. It's April. We're, a little over a quarter of the way through the year, but start now. It's better than not starting at all. And you're going to write down every win, big or small, and then toss it in and read them together during your tough seasons. One of the toughest seasons that Mo and I went through, he just wasn't grateful for anything. And he even told me that. He was like, Kim, I'm just not grateful for anything in life. And this was one of those things that really would have helped us in that moment, because part of one of the reasons that he wanted to leave is that he kept feeling like the grass is always greener on the other side, which is a typical dismissive avoidant comment or thought. And if we had something like this to go back on and say, no, yes, there are moments in our relationship that suck. And here is what we've done that is really great. And here are the moments that don't suck. And here are the things that we've gotten through. And here are the things that have been really great this year. I think that would have been something that would have kept us together in those moments before we separated. I think that would have made a really big difference. And so now going back and looking at that, it's like, wow, we are a lot more successful than what we thought we were. We are a lot more connected than what we thought we were. And so when you're doing things and it feels like life is kicking you in the teeth over and over and over and over, not just in your marriage, but in life in general, and you go back and you read all of these positive things, it actually has you do a perspective shift and makes you build a different mental groove in your brain. We've talked this entire podcast about these mental grooves and about reshaping perspectives and building new neurosynapses. This is one of those things that does that. It forces you to stop thinking negatively, because as human beings, that's what we're wired for anyway, is to think about all of the negative things. But this is going to give you that perspective shift to be like, actually, here I am sitting wallowing in my sorrows, and I have a really good life. I'm grateful for all of these things. I have a lot to be grateful for. I have done a lot of things. We have done a lot of things in our marriage that has made this marriage worth it, even if it seems really hard and strugglesome right now. I don't even know if strugglesome is a word, but I just made one. All right, number 15, you are going to text each other fake tabloid headlines. So for example, Local wife infuriates husband by being too perfect. It keeps the humor alive. And if you are familiar with Dr. Gottman's sound relationship house model, I talk about it all the time. You need 3 things in your marriage in order to make it thrive: commitment, trust, and friendship. If you do not have humor, you do not have friendship. Period, point blank, the end. Okay? So a lot of these things seem silly and a waste of time, but it keeps that humor alive. I just made up a couple others, but one might be: suspect lives on caffeine and 3 bites a day from her toddler's plate, but has no idea why she's angry and anxious. Or suspect picks up only his things around the house and finds that the messy house he's complaining about was in fact his own fault. Things like that. Like, just, you're adding humor. And yes, sometimes the way that they're worded, like these last 2, I put them in here purposely because they could be misconstrued as being like a passive aggressive comment. But even that, if there's a fun way that you can tell your partner, pick up your shit, bro, instead of being rude about it, that's going to lighten the mood. It's going to help your marriage versus you guys starting a conflict and an argument about your partner's stuff being everywhere. Number 16, this one is going to get some people's attention, and maybe not for the right reasons, but you're going to switch phones for a day or even a few hours. Now, if that right there made you go, oh, and want to throw up a little bit, you might want to check your integrity level, all right? Because here's what this does. It actually builds trust. When you switch your phones, you're having transparency in your relationship. If you have listened to the last few episodes, I've mentioned this a couple of different times. Transparency and honesty are not the same thing. Transparency is telling your partner what they need to know without them asking the questions. It is giving them all of the information they need without them having to ask for it. Honesty is you giving the information that they need based on the question that they asked, but no more. Okay? Healthy relationships are always transparent more than they are honest. Okay? So if your partner comes to you and says, hey, did you go out with friends last night? And you say, yes, I did. And they have to ask, okay, were there members of the opposite sex there? Who did you go with? What, where did you go? Things like that. That is you being honest if you're answering the question truthful. Transparency is you coming in saying, hey, we're going to go to dinner tonight with these 5 people. We're going to this restaurant. This is when we're leaving. This is when I'll be home. Are you okay with that? That is transparent. It is transparent for your partner for you to say, hey, we went to dinner last night, because let's say your partner's asleep when you get home. Then it is transparent for the next morning for you to say, hey, we went to dinner last night and so showed up. I know you don't like them, but I just want you to know that as soon as you got there, I avoided them all night, or I got up and paid my check and I came home as soon as they showed up. Something like that, rather than them finding out from Joe Blow down the street that this person showed up, and then, all of that. Even if you're not doing anything wrong, transparency is a core element of trust in any relationship. And when partners willingly exchange phones, they signal openness and vulnerability. This act of transparency can reduce feelings of jealousy or suspicion, and it allows both partners to feel more secure in the relationship. Now, psychologically, trust is strengthened when couples have access to each other's digital worlds. Trust-building behaviors like this help counteract insecurity or fears of emotional distance. It also increases empathy. Seeing what's on your partner's phone, from their messages to social media posts, provides context for their thoughts, emotions, and external interactions. This can foster so much empathy as you gain a better understanding of their daily life, their struggles, and their social interactions. Research shows that empathy is linked to stronger emotional bonds in relationships, and by putting yourself in your partner's shoes or scrolling through their contacts, you become more attuned to their experiences, which then leads to greater emotional closeness. It also improves your communication. A shared experience like this can lead to conversations that may not have happened otherwise. So, by reviewing each other's devices, you can discuss mutual interests, concerns, or things that you've learned about each other. Open conversations about what's on your phones, your texts, your notifications, your apps can help couples avoid misunderstandings and assumptions and foster a deep connection. It also allows room for discussions about boundaries, privacy, and respect, because those can be defined differently for different people. Sharing vulnerability. This exchanging your phones can evoke feelings of vulnerability, which, when shared in a relationship setting, fosters intimacy. And according to attachment theory, when partners allow themselves to be vulnerable, it deepens that emotional connection and attachment. This exchange can lead to sharing fears, past experiences, or concerns that may not come up in casual conversation. And this depth of emotional sharing strengthens the relational bond. It also helps reveal hidden patterns. People communicate differently through text and social media. For example, you might see how your partner interacts with colleagues, friends, or family members, which can then reveal unspoken aspects of their personality, their needs, and their preferences. And these insights allow couples to adjust their behavior and responses to better align with each other's needs and communication styles, which then creates a harmonious dynamic between the two of you. It also reduces digital barriers. In today's digital age, smartphones can very much and very quickly create a divide between couples. Constant distractions like notifications or private conversations can sometimes cause partners to feel isolated and ignored. And switching phones for a day disrupts that digital barrier and offers a more tangible way of connecting and engaging with one another. Taking a step toward embracing each other's digital world can help couples avoid issues of neglect or emotional disconnection, which are often caused by excessive screen time. So while switching phones may not be for every couple, for those who are comfortable with it, or even a little bit uncomfortable in a good way, it can serve as an enriching exercise that helps to build stronger bonds, communication, and trust. Number 17. A lot of you guys are going to roll your eyes at this one, but hear me out till the end, okay? Use a Google Calendar for scheduling sex, but use fun titles. So like board meeting at 9 p.m. or project deep dive tonight. Keeps it playful and prioritized. Now, I understand that so many of you are like, scheduling sex? Absolutely not. That is unsexy. It feels mechanical. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. But hear me out. Research and science shows that it can actually be beneficial for long-term intimacy and relationship satisfaction. So here's why, okay? It can actually be a positive strategy and improve your connection. And here's how some couples make it work for them. A lot of people are not having sex at all because they can't, quote unquote, find the time. This combats that. All right. You're finding the time because you're making the time. And even though it seems unsexy, consistency drives connection. So studies have actually shown that frequency and consistency of sexual activity correlate with higher relationship satisfaction and emotional closeness. And when couples schedule sex, they ensure that physical intimacy doesn't get sidelined due to your busy schedules or other distractions or kids' activities or what have you. The mere exposure effect is another one. And this suggests that the more we engage in something, the more we enjoy it. Scheduling sex ensures that it becomes a consistent part of your routine, making it less likely for your intimacy to be neglected, which can actually enhance the enjoyment over time as it becomes more of an established connection. There's another effect that is called the sexual drought effect. And when couples let their sexual connection fade, it leads to feelings of neglect, frustration, and resentment. So research actually shows that sexual satisfaction is tied to emotional satisfaction in relationships. And when couples don't prioritize sex, they may experience emotional disconnect, which then can lead to issues like poor communication or even increased conflict. Because as we've talked about previously, it's not that conflict causes disconnection. It's actually that disconnection causes that conflict. So scheduling ensures that it happens and helps prioritize it within the relationship, reducing the likelihood of neglect or avoidance. And it prevents sex from being something that's pushed to the side, especially for busy or exhausted partners, ensuring that both partners have the chance to feel seen and valued in that physical connection. Anticipation can also increase the excitement. You're seeing it on the calendar. Ooh, okay, all right, let's get mentally prepared here. So contrary to the idea that scheduling sex makes it boring, research actually suggests that anticipation can make the experience more exciting. And knowing that something is planned can actually allow both of you to mentally and emotionally prepare for it, which can then increase the excitement and reduce any anxiety or pressure. It's also an opportunity for creativity. So when sex is scheduled, it can provide both partners with the opportunity to plan and create a more engaging or adventurous experience. And this might mean trying new things or even exploring each other's desires in a low pressure environment. Maybe making some of those 5-minute fantasies that we talked about earlier come to life. Scheduling allows for anticipation and thoughtfulness that can actually enhance the experience. So this could listening to all of this, thinking about how this is going to improve your sex life, it also becomes more effective for your communication. Scheduling sex can encourage couples to communicate more openly about their needs and desires and expectations. If you go back and listen to the 6 types of conversations episode that I recorded, it's quite a ways back there, but there are 6 different types of conversations that every couple needs to be having, and intimate expressions is one of them. This conversation can help create a mutual understanding of what both of you want and need sexually, which can then deepen your intimacy and satisfaction. Scheduling sex can also allow couples to communicate their preferences more effectively and take the time to discuss emotional or physical intimacy. And this open dialogue can increase your satisfaction and create a more collaborative approach to sex rather than it being a spontaneous event that may or may not meet both partners' needs. For couples with demanding schedules, whether it's because you work different shifts or you have children or other obligations, sex can easily be the top thing that falls off the radar. And scheduling sex ensures that both partners prioritize their physical and emotional connection, even when your life is hectic. Research in relationship psychology shows that quality time together, including physical intimacy, is essential for maintaining a strong bond. And scheduling sex becomes part of that, making intentional effort to keep the relationship strong, no matter how busy your life gets. Now, here are some health benefits of regular intimacy as well. Regular sex has numerous physical and mental health benefits, including stress reduction, improved sleep, and increased levels of bonding hormones like oxytocin. So by scheduling sex, couples ensure that they are reaping these benefits regularly, which can improve both individual and relational well-being. It also helps you have a healthier sex relationship. A study published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine found that couples who have sex more regularly tend to have healthier relationships overall. So by scheduling sex, couples are more likely to maintain a healthy sexual relationship, which is important for long-term satisfaction. It also breaks the myth of spontaneity. Spontaneity versus reality is that while many people think that sex should be spontaneous for it to be exciting, this idealized version can often lead to disappointment when life gets in the way. So scheduling sex allows couples to let go of those unrealistic expectations and recognize that intimacy doesn't have to be spontaneous to be meaningful. The real excitement is actually coming from research showing that what really matters in a sexual relationship is not spontaneity, but emotional connection and the satisfaction that both partners derive from that experience. So scheduling sex allows couples to take the pressure off of it needing to be perfect or spontaneous, and instead focuses on making it a fulfilling and meaningful connection. So here are some tips for making scheduled sex fun. Number 1, you're going to keep it light. Try not to treat it like a chore. Instead, view it as time to reconnect and really enjoy each other. Start by kissing. Start by making out like you did when you were in high school. Start by just touching each other and see where it goes from there. And don't focus on climax at all. Instead, focus on the sensations of each other. Focus on just enjoying each other. Add variety. Schedule not just the time, but also mix things up with new ideas or dates or playful surprises to keep the experience exciting. They have an adventure challenge book. You can get it on Amazon for the bedroom. They also have one for families. They have one for couples, for date nights, what have you. There's a lot of different options, but one of them is for the bedroom, and it's really fun. Don't overschedule. If the idea of strict schedules feels too rigid, leave some flexibility for the timing, while still ensuring that you can carve out that time for intimacy. So while scheduling sex might initially seem like a turn off, it can actually lead to more consistent, satisfying, and enjoyable intimacy. And the key is in making it something that both partners are on board with, and understanding that just like any other part of a healthy relationship, sexual connection needs attention and care. So by scheduling sex, couples are actively prioritizing their relationship and making sure that they stay emotionally and physically connected, even despite the demands of everyday life. Number 18, pray together. Now, I know that this is another one that is very, it might be an unpopular opinion, but think about this. You can trust each other in your most vulnerable moment when you're not even coherent and you're sleeping next to each other. You can trust each other with your bodies and be physically intimate, but you can't pray together. You're being physically, sexually, emotionally, and intellectually vulnerable with each other, but not spiritually. Did you know that couples who pray together have a 1 in 1,152, or about 0.09% chance of divorcing? Think about it. Number 19. You're going to create a couples only Spotify playlist. This is super fun. I actually have one for me and Mo, and it is full of all of the songs that we drove around to on our first date, that we were driving to when I went to Egypt for the first time, and met his family. Songs that have been really nostalgic for us or have built memories around throughout our marriage, any of those. Like, you can add all of these songs in your Spotify playlist, and it's so fun. So, and it's not just romantic songs, but like the weird ones that you laugh over, or that you cook to, or that you dance to in your kitchen. Any of those are great options to add. And it's just something that can lighten the mood, that you can just put on at the end of a really hard day, or it's even a repair option that maybe you guys are having an argument and you put on that playlist, and it just brings back a flood of all of these great memories and great feelings and that oxytocin. And so then it helps you repair with your partner a little bit quicker. And it also helps you realize, like, I actually do love this person. Like, what are we doing? Why are we fighting? Number 20, you are going to write each other love letters from the future. Now, this is the last one, and it's so fun. You're going to write each other letters from 10 to 20 years in the future, imagining the relationship's adventures and memories and growth from now until then. And it could include funny scenarios, or how you've learned to communicate with aliens, or you've, maybe some of your kids' future embarrassing moments. And this encourages you to think about your future together in a creative and playful way, which brings some of that humor that we talked about earlier and positivity to that relationship. It helps build a friendship. And writing letters from the future may sound, again, whimsical or imaginative exercise that's idiotic, but there's actually solid psychological science behind it. And here's why it can be really enriching and emotionally beneficial for couples to do. So, future orientation and relationship satisfaction, studies suggest that having a shared vision of the future is crucial for relationship satisfaction and longevity. This is something that helps you just feel like you are moving in that forward motion together. And writing letters from the future helps couples visualize a future together, reinforcing a sense of shared purpose and commitment. It activates what psychologists call future self-reflection, which is the process of imagining the person that you will be in the future. When you do this together, it strengthens the sense of partnership and long-term connection. It also creates a sense of us versus me or I. This collective vision strengthens emotional bonds and helps each partner feel like they are working toward a shared goal. Also, when couples think about a future filled with love and adventure and shared memories, it taps into this optimistic bias. Now, we've talked a lot about negative sentiment override or negative sentiment bias. This cognitive tendency makes us feel more hopeful and confident about the future. And writing these future love letters can trigger positive emotions and feelings of security in the relationship. Now, research shows that positive relationship expectations can improve communication, it increases intimacy, and it reduces conflict. Now, we've also talked about gratitude in this episode, and reflecting on a future where you're still together can help you express appreciation for your partner. Writing a love letter from the future evokes feelings of gratitude for your partner's role in your life, which has been shown to increase relationship satisfaction and decrease stress levels. Everybody needs a little more of that, right? A study by the Greater Good Science Center found that expressing gratitude can improve well-being and strengthen relationships. One of the key factors in building emotional intimacy is self-disclosure. Or sharing personal thoughts, feelings, and hopes. And writing a love letter from the future encourages deeper self-disclosure because it asks both partners to share their dreams, their fears, and their desires. This openness helps build trust, which is foundational to any healthy relationship. When you write a letter from the future, you are affirming that you envision the relationship as lasting and thriving. This affirmation can provide emotional security, making each partner feel more confident in their bond and less fearful of potential challenges in the relationship. Writing a love letter from the future can also act as a form of mental simulation. And by imagining what life will be like together in the future, couples practice resilience and positive coping strategies. According to psychological research on future planning, couples who envision a future together are better able to navigate present day challenges because they have a sense of what they're working toward. This future perspective helps partners stay committed to the relationship even through the tough times. So imagining your relationship growing and evolving over time helps to foster a growth mindset within the relationship. So instead of seeing difficulties as insurmountable, couples are more likely to view challenges as opportunities for growth. This mindset has been linked to higher relationship satisfaction and the ability to handle stress together. Writing these future letters encourages playfulness and novelty, both of which we have talked about a couple of different times in the episode, and both of which are important for keeping the spark alive in the relationship. According to the broaden and build theory of positive emotions, engaging in creative, playful activities increases positive emotions, which in turn strengthens resilience and builds better coping mechanisms. So playfulness in relationships has been shown to increase overall satisfaction and reduce the likelihood of relationship burnout. It's also the foundation to that friendship piece that we were talking about earlier with Gottman's sound relationship house model. Writing love letters from the future also aligns with attachment theory, which is because of the idea that how we emotionally connect to others shapes our relationships. When couples envision a positive future together, it reinforces the secure attachment bonds between them. It also affirms each partner's commitment to the relationship, which is particularly powerful for those in long-term relationships where the initial honeymoon phase has faded and you have moved into maybe the power struggle stage or the mutuality stage. The act of planning a future together is a demonstration of relationship capital, the emotional investment you make in your relationship. So it's putting the money in your emotional bank account. According to the commitment theory, the more invested people feel in their relationships, the more likely they are to maintain high levels of satisfaction and stay in the relationship through difficult times. So basically, writing love letters from the future isn't just a fun and romantic activity. It is a tangible psychological benefit for both partners in the couple. It fosters emotional intimacy, strengthens attachment, increases relationship resilience, boosts optimism and positivity. And by imagining a positive future together, couples can reinforce their emotional connection and create a shared vision that makes them more invested in each other. So ultimately, this exercise not only keeps the relationship playful, but also builds a foundation for long-term emotional health and happiness. Now, as always, I hope that you have enjoyed these rogue, unhinged ideas for bettering your marriage. I hope this episode has been educational and helpful and has given you new ways to improve your relationship. If you enjoyed the content in today's episode, please share it with your spouse. Maybe tag them and, put a comment in there of like, hey, let's try numbers 1, 3, 5, and 7 or something like that. Tag your friends, share it on your socials, even tag me at married.and.connected, and please leave a review. The more reviews I have, the more this episode and this show actually gets out to more and more people who can also enjoy these 20 unhinged ways to better their relationship. Until next week, keep building healthy marriages, and I will talk to you then.
I want to take a moment to share an important disclaimer, not for myself, but for my legal team. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. And while I am a certified marriage coach, I am not a licensed therapist, counselor, or medical professional. The information, opinions, and advice shared here are based on my experience, research, and expertise, but they are not a substitute for professional mental health, legal, or medical advice. Every relationship is unique, and what works for one couple may not work for another. If you're facing serious relationship struggles, mental health concerns, or other challenges, I encourage you to seek the guidance of a qualified professional. By listening to this podcast, you agree that I, Cameron Alaricki, and the Married and Connected podcast are not responsible for any decisions that you make based on the content shared here. Your relationship, your choices, and your outcomes are ultimately in your hands.